What are you doing?
You're not going to get any cereal out of that, dude. It's a t-shirt box.
Oh.
Meet Kent, Ryan, and Terry. We're just three random dudes with YouTube channels who get together every Saturday morning where we celebrate the two constants in our lives that bring us a daily dose of serenity. Coffee and Star Wars. We call it JavaJawaJaw.
Hey everyone, welcome back to JavaJawaJaw. I'm Terry, and with me as always are Ryan and Kent.
Hey guys.
And we are here today to talk to you about Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 3, On the Wings of Kiradax. But before we get into that, we figured that there's something important we need to talk about, and that is this guy right here. If I can get this up here without ruining the cover. This is the first issue of the new Star Wars comic book from Marvel Comics, written by Charles Soule and illustrated by Jesus Saiz. Yep. I think is how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, gentlemen, if I butchered your names. But yes, Charles Soule and Jesus Saiz.
If we have butchered your name and you've seen this, contact us and we will invite you to the show.
And by all means, just correct us or whatever you got to do. And please come on the show. We're just a short, 12-hour drive away from the Marvel offices in New York City. But anyway. For those of you who may not know, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but what's happening in this new Star Wars comic book that just launched 3 or 4 months ago is they've done something similar to what they did when Marvel retook the rights for the Star Wars comics after the Disney buyout. By that I mean that they launched a brand new Star Wars title that picked up at the end of Episode 4, A New Hope. And there was some great storytelling that went on with that. I enjoyed every issue of that comic book all the way through, as well as the accompanying Darth Vader comic book and the Dr. Aphra comic book. Yep. Great brand new character, that Dr. Aphra. Should probably be the subject of an episode at some point.
I missed out on that series, the Dr. Aphra series. I missed out on that, but the Vader series was like, no.
Are you familiar with the concept? What Dr. Aphra basically wound up being?
She was in the video game.
Was she?
The last video, was it Battlefront 2?
Huh.
Or, maybe I'm going crazy. I don't know.
Well, essentially, she was like...
I'm pretty sure.
Like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was in the previous... I could be totally wrong, and everybody's flaming me right now, but it's been a minute since I played Battlefront 2, but I was thinking it was in there, but I don't know.
So anyway, all those stories took place between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and they ended relatively recently, last summer, I think it was. Last spring, maybe, not sure. And they relaunched Star Wars, a new Star Wars title, this one picking up at some point during Empire Strikes Back between the escape from Cloud City, spoiler alert, and the point where Chewie and Lando are departing the Rebel fleet to go and find Han on Tatooine. So we've got Luke on board the Millennium Falcon with Leia, Lando, Chewie, 3PO, R2. Fleeing from the Empire and going to meet the Rebel fleet, or a segment of the Rebel fleet.
Yep.
And once they rendezvous, they find the Rebel fleet under attack by an Imperial Star Destroyer and several Imperial Star Destroyers and a contingent of TIE fighters, obviously.
They're trapped.
The Admiral, or is she an Admiral?
I think she's an Admiral.
Yeah, Admiral in charge of the fleet that's attacking the Rebels, sees the Millennium Falcon, goes all hateful, and says launch an entire squadron of TIE fighters against that ship. So 12 TIE fighters. Spoiler alert, by the way. This show is spoilerific, so this should surprise nobody. 12 TIE fighters are coming towards the Millennium Falcon.
It's on.
And Luke is devastated because of the discovery that Darth Vader is his father, all the lies that he feels that his life has been up to that point. Stressed out because he's lost a hand, he's lost his lightsaber, he's at a bottomless pit right now. Has some sort of a force explosion in his head, and causes all the TIE fighters in the midst of a space battle in the midst of outer space while flying in a completely separate ship to crash into each other and be destroyed. Boom. Exactly. Boom. Yeah.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
It's a bit strong.
It's a bit strong, right?
It's a bit strong. It's like some over. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this, and here's my logic, and you and I've talked about this at length on a car ride home. But where do we go from here? What does this lead to? Because we've never seen anybody exercise this level of power, to my knowledge, outside of maybe some Legends book here or there or whatever. But because once you've opened this door, is there any really going back, or is it like a holdo maneuver, one and done?
Well, I mean,
because if Jedi and Sith can do this, have this kind of power, then there's no point in space battles anymore once you bring a Force wielder to the field.
No, you just think about them and they just explode.
Fun's over. Yeah.
So the question I've got, we were talking about when we were making some coffee. By the way, we got some pretty good coffee.
Did I bring it back up?
No, but we have. Oh, maybe you did, but we have coffee with a word on it that none of us can pronounce.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even. I'll put it here on the screen.
It's from some African country. I'm not sure if it's like Senegal or but it's from a company called.
Yeah, if you guys can pronounce it, I'll put it here on the screen.
Yeah, drop it there.
It's pretty good. The problem I've got with the whole him blowing up the ships thing is he never finished his training with Yoda. He could, like you said earlier, he could barely pick up an X-wing. Well, he couldn't pick up an X-wing. He could not even pick up his ship out of the swamp and let him. Now he can blow up a whole fleet of just TIE fighters. Yeah. Where did he get this epiphany? And then where?
Yeah, that's a pretty big leap. And I know that you could make the argument that it's just like something snapped.
Oh yeah.
This is like a particular state of mind that he had to be in order for this to happen. That's why he was never able to do it again or never tried to do it again.
And even take it to the next level. Is he tapping into the dark side? So
right.
Yeah.
Does he ever want to go back there?
Back,
so
right?
now he's seen what he can do with the Force or potentially do with the Force. So now do you put up those barriers so you don't lose control and
so if you're
down the path to the dark side?
Well, it has implications in Jedi as well, Return of the Jedi as well. Like, why did he go through all that stuff with Jabba if he could just blow everybody up?
Yeah, let's just drop the katana down to the sands and
come on.
just use the Force to knock all the skiff guards off the skiff and fly away with his friends. Grab Leia.
Why go through all the acrobatics?
Reach out, grab Leia. Yeah. I think my argument is, and the point that I'm trying to make, and feel free to share your opinion on this in the comments below, but I feel like there are limits historically that have been placed on Force wielders by George Lucas and Lucasfilm prior to the purchase by Disney. And those limits were placed there for a reason, not just because they felt like some arbitrary need for Force wielders to be limited, but because once you get to a certain point, then it stops becoming fun.
Right. Then you become a god.
Exactly so.
And you just do whatever you want.
Yeah. You shoot lightning at a fleet of ships.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then you've got the Superman thing, and it's like one of the whole concepts of why Superman can be difficult to write is because he's so damned powerful.
Right. Exactly.
That the challenge becomes finding a weakness.
That's Kid's problem.
Yeah, you've got to come up. You've got to come up with a way that Superman can be defeated or that Superman can be put in jeopardy. But if he is all powerful, if he doesn't have any weaknesses or vulnerabilities, then the comic book stops being fun. Except for everybody who has like this fantasy wish fulfillment to be all powerful, to be basically a god.
Right.
And I'm just not. I mean, if you're interested in that, if that's your fantasy wish fulfillment thing, I recommend therapy. But.
Write your own comic book.
Yeah, write your own comic book.
Stay out of Star Wars. I don't know. You guys let us know your thoughts on that. If you've read the book, I'm interested to see where it goes from there. But I'm on the fence on the side of the fence where it was a little too strong.
Yeah.
So
Kent,
yeah,
are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it. Like I said, I think he's tapping into a power a path that he's not going to want to follow. I see where it's overkill, but I mean, they do kind of hint that it's just turning the wheels in there. And I know that takes some power, but it's not like he just thought and the ships exploded. So I'm kind of happy with it.
I think also at stake here is the discussion of the nature of the Force, and
sure.
I mean, I don't care if you want to bring midichlorians into it or not, whichever path you want to take, or the Guardians of the Wills or the Wills themselves, if they're going to bring that back into the whole Star Wars mythos. But you need to be careful if you're going to be doing stuff like this, because you have the tendency to damage irrevocably I don't want to call it a franchise, but the lore. Just tread carefully. I would caution anybody who's going to be doing any future writing for any Star Wars title. Don't go for shock and awe. That's not what makes Star Wars great.
We have spoken.
Yeah. Anyway, lecture's over.
By the way, Kent agreed with it, and you notice he's wearing a villain shirt. Yeah. So
totally.
Throw that out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means.
Han shot first.
Han shot first.
Fake news.
Next segment.
So I think that brings us to we're getting closer to talking about Clone Wars. Before that, we're going to go to our all-time favorite segment, which is Buy Me Toys. Lots of cool things in this new episode of Clone Wars.
Yes, very much so.
What do we want to talk about? What do you want? What do you want to see?
All of it.
You always want all of it.
I don't think that's bad. All of it. So I think having 3 episodes with the Bad Batch absolutely warrants Hasbro to drop us some Bad Batch Black Series 6-inch figures. We'll definitely need those. I don't think we're going to see them in a 6 scale form.
No.
I don't think we'll ever see that, but I think 6-inch form, I think we'll definitely see that. And I would just assume they make like a 5-pack and just say, or was it 4 of them?
That's
four.
Yeah.
Just a 4-pack.
Exclusive.
Yeah, just give me all of them. I don't want to go hunt around. Just release them and I'll buy all of them.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that, right? Just don't make it a Disney park exclusive.
I was just going to say, what if it's a Galaxy's Edge exclusive?
I got to pay $300 because, no, I don't want
And
that.
you got 2 other figures that you already have.
Yeah.
You have to buy the one Bad Batch with it.
Right, it'll be like a 2-pack. It would be like Hunter and BB-8. Or, it's just some stuff that
Ray
already
and
done.
Chewie and
Don't
a
do
clone
that.
on the
Don't
patch.
do that.
What's
The D-Wings.
the D-Wings. No, I was going to say the Constable Zuvio
Right.
and Wrecker. the figure that never ever sold.
Just characters that got extras plus the Bad Batch.
Yeah, the D-Wings, the D-Wing droids were pretty cool. They were pretty cool.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them.
I doubt we see them.
I don't think we're going to see them. I think
There's so much engineering going on with those.
Right.
Yeah. So and it's all unique. It's not like you can it's not like you can keep generating them unless you just wanted to.
And I think if they did, they
Go
would
into
be
Legends territory.
fragile. I mean,
Very fragile.
So the
Especially
regular
6-inch.
battle droids they've got out now, which we just got the heavies, and they got a Geonosis battle droids coming very soon at GameStop. You can actually pre-order them.
Mm-hmm.
But even those are somewhat flimsy because of the engineering behind it. So if they did the D-Wing ones, I think they'd be really flimsy. So I'd buy 1 or 2, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
already
they could
build
be
them.
fun with the wings and all that good stuff.
Right.
Or if they did do 3 3/4 inch, it'd be an opportunity for Hasbro to bring back the battle packs where you could have a couple of the droids versus the Bad Batch. So I think some of those battle packs you were getting almost 8 figures at the 3 3/4 inch. So
Right.
it could be 4 versus 3 or 4 versus 4.
Right. I'd like to see that, and I'd love to see Hasbro. I want a gunship. 3 3/4.
Yes.
Gunship.
Yes.
Bring back the gunships.
Bring it back. You're bringing back the Slave One. Vintage doing that thing. I just get a gun. I just want a gunship, so I don't have to pay $500 for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for that. I mean, if you just take a look at the cost of a gunship online, an incomplete gunship online, and compare it with the cost of how much it was when it came to
Right.
how much it cost
for
when it came
some
out.
reason, people let kids play with those things and lost pieces, and it's just it's just wrong.
There should be a test for parenting.
It's just wrong.
Will you let your kids play with the Star Wars toys? Yes. Okay. No.
Yeah, pass. So
Vasectomy.
I'd like to see that, and that's pretty much it for this week. I think gunship and some Bad Batch figures would be amazing. So.
Cool. Okay, so with that, on to Clone Wars Episode 3 from Season 7, On the Wings of Kiridax.
Yes.
I'm going to open my notebook here.
Notebook time.
My awesome new
Keep
notebook.
in mind, the guy's got a Darth Vader notebook,
Uh-oh.
and he's wearing a black jacket.
It's got this really cool artwork on the first page.
It's just like the comic.
Yeah, I think of the three of us, I probably look the most Sith-like right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you definitely.
Believe me, that's not intentional.
I wouldn't trust him.
I am not a fan of Sith worship. Sith worshippers.
No.
No,
I've just
the
got my
people who
droids. I got my droids.
Yeah, the people who approach Darth Vader like he's the ultimate, the people who approach the Empire like they're to be emulated, I don't have any patience for that. You're worshiping the bad guys, dudes.
They got something mixed up in the brain. But if you're one of those people, let us know down below, and we will chat
Put
with
you
you.
on a list.
So, something we never talk about is at the beginning of every Clone Wars episode, there is a philosophical quote that is meant to basically tie the whole episode together, or maybe provide a discussion point for the episode itself. And for this one, the quote is as follows. I'm just going to read it to make sure I don't screw it up. Survival is one step on the path to living. So let's keep that in mind while we're talking about that, because we're going to get to what's going on with Echo here in a few minutes. Before we move forward, I just want to talk about the artwork in this new batch. If you'll let me throw out some dad humor punish. Let's see what I did there.
I'll allow it.
Echo this
batch.
time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Echo.
I didn't even echo.
Echo. The artwork has been incredible. The evolution of it from season 6 to now, I mean, I think we touched on it like day 1, but just watching this episode, the high point for me was definitely the quality of the art and about how they just so nicely adhered to the mandate of keeping it like you were looking at a Ralph McQuarrie painting in motion. Which is something that when you find out that was the mandate and you go back to episode 1, season 1 of Clone Wars, you realize that that's what they were trying to achieve, and then you saw it a lot in Rebels.
Right.
That they took that evolution of the artwork that they brought into Rebels, and now they brought it into season 7, and we're really starting to see something special.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that bit where they had the single shot during the battle where Echo and Wrecker and I think Hunter were attacking one of the tri-droids. And you're shooting, the camera angle is like way low, and it's shooting up, and you're seeing over the shoulders of these guys or under the arms of these guys up to the top of this droid. And it looks so much like some of the concept artwork that we saw by Ralph McQuarrie.
They're doing a really good job, so continue on.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on from that. All right, we're starting out the clones, the Bad Batch, and Echo and Rex and Luke. Minus 5 points. Yeah, and I almost said Han. Then God, I'm on a roll.
It's okay.
Okay,
Anakin
are all trapped in Burkle, and they're saying that they're about. I noticed that when Anakin goes in to check on Tech and Echo and Rex. He says, we're almost wrapped up out here, but it doesn't seem like they were almost wrapped up.
Not at all. It looks like they have plenty of droids backing them up.
Backs to the wall, guns out. They've got. They're not wrapping things up. They're on the ropes.
Yeah.
Well,
but Anakin, being cocky as he is, he probably thinks he actually is having it wrapped up.
They touch on that a little bit in this episode too, but more on that later. I love the quote from Hunter, I think it was, or maybe it was Crosshair, but. Hold the battle out, hold the fort down out here while I go check on these guys. And how long can you hold them off? How long do you need?
Yeah,
right.
That was great, man. This Bad Batch group, man. There's some next level clones.
No fear
going on right
now. Almost no fear, except for Wrecker.
What do you think about that Decimator?
So yeah, that was a nice little surprise, and glad we didn't get to see it in full effect because it looks like that thing could do some damage.
Yeah, it could take some people out.
It's like they took the droid little energy charge that takes out the droids and like applied it to the clones, so that's pretty crazy.
I got a War of the Worlds vibe.
Yeah, reverse engineering.
From the Decimator?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little ball droid. Yeah, okay.
War of the Worlds vibe. And it also reminded me of the droid, the robot droid thing from Incredibles that Syndrome was building. Remind me of that too.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's literally a ball with a bunch of arms that come out of it. It's a droid.
And we get the classic breaking the door panel to seal the door.
Right.
Dude, there was so much aliens going on with that. The bit in Aliens where they're backing up into operations and on the LV-426 and they break out the little arc reactors. They break out the little arc loaders.
and it's like
losing points left and right.
What else are these guys carrying with them as a kit to go into battle? You're like, it's like, you're going to make a pot of coffee? Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know what else they got. But when I saw them, I'm like, where did they get this thing? But clearly they're just prepared and it wasn't like one of them, like Tech. I can see Tech having that with him, right?
Right.
But no, the other two guys, both of them had it. I don't know. It was cool.
That was a great homage to Aliens there. I'm sure that was intent. The other bit that I noticed, a little bit of an homage to Aliens, was from Alien 3 when they ask Echo, how you feeling, Echo? And he's like, and you see Echo, and he's become a cyborg.
Right.
He's missing his arm. I'm pretty sure that he's lost both of his legs.
Yeah, he's definitely got robot legs.
And he's just looking like absolute hell. And they ask him how he's doing, and he's like, I've got a big headache. There's a scene in Alien 3 when Ripley goes and finds the remains of Bishop, the droid, in the garbage pile and takes him back to the medical bay. plugs him in, turns him back on, and he's a hot mess. I mean, he looks kind of like Echo, how probably Echo looked before they put all of the cyborg parts on him.
Definitely how Echo felt.
And he comes to and he looks around and he's like, Ripley. And she says, how are you? And his response is, my legs hurt.
Craziness.
Which is, some great cyborg humor. But
it was good.
Yeah. Anyway.
He's had a bad year or however long he's been missing. He's been missing a while.
It's been a while. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking they're saying at least months, probably even years. How long was the Clone Wars? 5 years?
Yeah. And so he's been in a tank hooked up for a while.
Yeah.
And it's always like the evolution of leading to this guy, him and Grievous with the robotic parts and stuff. So always those little hints that you can eventually get to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first hint that we've seen of the transition between organic and cyborg.
Right.
Grievous obviously being the most notable one.
Yep.
And obviously, basically you're getting previews for Vader.
Yep.
Yeah, and definitely Echo qualifies as another part of that.
Echo's pre-Vader. Oh.
Well, speaking of Echo, they're trapped. This Devastator's trying to break through to them, and he's like, "Hey, I know how we can get away." He points to a little ventilation thing up in the ceiling, and everybody jumps up there, or actually is thrown up there by Wrecker, I guess.
Good job, Wrecker.
Except Anakin, who eschews the whole notion of being tossed. Nobody tosses a Jedi.
Right.
And gets himself up there and uses the Force to pull Wrecker up at the last second, escaping the Devastator's electrical assault.
Good job, Anakin.
Yeah. At which point, they're walking through these tunnels that are clearly tunnels for cooling the computers and for the techno.
They definitely look cold.
Yeah, frosty. Yeah, like a frosty beverage. And Echo reveals that he has, while they had access to his memories, he also had access to all their, everything really. He knows everything, Techno Union. He's got access to all their plans. They're all in his head. He's got it all, which makes him this amazing asset, like the likes of which we haven't seen since the Citadel, when they were trying to get Tarkin and what was the name of that?
Oh no, the other guy. I'm drawing a blank.
Short Jedi, big ears, not Yoda.
Yeah. Kadai.
Yeah.
Master.
Huh? I don't remember.
Jedi Master, Pink Yoda.
That guy.
Kratos.
Okay. Yeah.
Kratos. Crossover event. There we go.
They get onto this walkway, and I'm gonna pause again because the shot, the like side scroller looking shot of like this big pipe that goes all across that widescreen view, and they're just all these tiny figures on there with D-wing droids marching towards them on either side, like the all warm colors except for like a little bit of cool colors in the shadows, and then this bright blue lightsaber lit. Yep. Favorite shot of the show, maybe favorite shot of the season at this point.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, just absolutely gorgeous.
Not a good place to be for Wrecker, since he doesn't like heights.
And this is where we get to the part of the episode where we get the name of the episode itself, because Tech reveals that he has recorded the distress call of the Kyridax.
Under the helmet.
Under the helmet. That's right.
Also, under
Kent's
the helmet, they
segment.
could see through the doors, right? Didn't he see how many droids and stuff were coming through the droids? So that was a previous. We'll circle back, but
yeah, we can do that.
That happened too.
Yeah.
Tech he's a bad dude. So.
Yeah, don't mess with his helmet.
Yeah.
So what else does Tech record?
Seeing through walls. Conversations.
Is Tech just like a walking Siri and just like or iPhone just records everything?
According to Hunter, he does. Hunter says he records everything. It's a hobby.
Be careful.
Yeah. So
watch what you say around Tech.
Mind your P's and Q's. Did you notice the sound that they used as the distress call for the Kyridax was the same sound effect used for the Acklay in episode 2?
I did not.
Yeah, that cry of that creature, that sounded like an Acklay to me. You can go back and listen to it and maybe interject it. Maybe, I don't know if can we do where do we point to when we're doing sound effects?
Whoa.
I don't know.
Yeah. Right here.
How do you point to sound?
Yeah.
We tried.
So this is where we find out, or more to the point, we actually already knew going into it, but this is where the clones find out that the D-Wings can actually do a whole full-on Transformers and sprout wings and fly.
In the words of Finn, they fly now.
They fly now?
I was so hoping somebody was going to say that.
Right.
I really wanted that line to pop out of somebody's mouth at that point.
Somebody's not watching the new movies.
Clearly the clones aren't. But I guess the clones are all dead at this point.
For that point, yeah.
Unless any of them are carbon freeze. That's what I want to see. I want to see an animated series.
Rex might still be alive. He kind of hangs in there.
In not Last Jedi, but Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, he might be around.
He'd be really, really old.
He'd be pretty old.
Yeah.
Or maybe Echo now.
Yeah. The only way I could see that working is if somehow we don't know Rex's fate. We don't know where he dies or how he dies or whatever. For all we know, he was taken by somebody and put in carbon freeze. In which case he could be sitting in a storage locker somewhere about the time the
Here's a movement. Rex
dies.
Rex lives.
Yeah, bring back Rex.
Well, I mean, he was chilling in Return of the Jedi.
He's a clone. They could clone him again. Can you
was.
clone a clone?
What
Happens when you clone a clone?
They said he was.
You get a blurry copy.
So degradation.
They made him the bearded guy in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that was a nice little retcon.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. Anyway, so part 5 here, uninvited guests. They fly on the backs of these Kiridaks after a really interesting and chaotic battle, retreat, withdrawal.
They're really good at flying them.
Yeah, not really. No, but somehow it
They're
worked.
good at falling.
I guess that instinct led the Kiridaks back to the Poltech village because that's where they wind up. The Poltech leader is not happy about it.
Not happy.
And which is fine. Whatever. They're not. You can't please everybody.
Well, I mean, how many times have the Clone Wars been the actual battles in the Empire, whatever? How many times have they intruded on a neutral land and people that have nothing to do with anything? How many times have they just been
so many
affected?
times just in the show?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Let alone the stuff that we haven't seen off camera.
Like, yep, you're in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pick a side.
Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. So I mean, episode 1 of Clone Wars was Yoda meeting the other guy on that planet. They had that. Anyway.
The Toydarians?
There you go.
Yep.
And then they had that ones with the Quile, something like that. I can't remember. Weequay. That they wanted nothing to do with
the
it.
Twi'leks. Yeah, the Twi'leks. Okay.
They wanted nothing to do with it, but they didn't really have a choice. So it happens over and over and over again. War affects everybody. Period. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So.
That's why we have the Third Amendment. Anyway, okay, so this is the part that got to me. There's a quote, there's a line that Rex uses when they're trying to basically win the hearts and minds of the people, so to speak. They're trying to win them over as allies in this coming fight against the onslaught of D-Wings. And Rex brings forth as an Exhibit A, so to speak, Echo and his current state. Look what they did to our friend. And he says, and I quote, "They took away his humanity." I don't know. Maybe I'm just being soft and everything, but that just felt like some really cold stuff to say right in front of Echo. Did they really take away his humanity, or did they just take away some body parts?
I think he was just trying to make a point that he needed help.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that Rex probably didn't put a whole lot of thought into.
Right.
At that point, he's got these guys coming in. There's a battle going on. It ain't like he sat there and thought about his next quote. I think that's what he thought at the point, and that's what he said. Or he said what needed to be said to accomplish the mission.
Do you feel like Echo's humanity is gone now?
It was.
Part of it. It's part of it. I mean, he's got...
Okay, that's a valid point. That's a valid point.
So
at that particular time,
him.
they'd returned his humanity to him.
Right.
But for the past few months or years or however long it's been, he lost his humanity because they basically turned him into a robot. Yeah, that's right.
He was in the Matrix.
Yeah. He was in the Matrix.
For a while. And
that would clearly be taking away your humanity.
There you go. Good job, Rex.
I hadn't thought about it that way. Thanks, Kent.
Liberators.
Right.
Yeah.
Join the clones.
You notice that Anakin's haircut kind of looks like Vader's helmet? The silhouette of it?
I didn't, but I could...
Maybe we should have brought him over. Yeah.
I mean, his helmet... Well, at that point, he has no hair.
It's such a stretch, but I remember years ago that somebody brought that up in a conversation, and the first time I looked at him in the Clone Wars and was like, okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Anyway, so, take the reinforcements and bring back my experiment. That's an interesting quote.
Tech Union.
From the Techno Union Army.
Yeah.
That's what they don't think of him as a human or as even as an enemy combatant. They think of him as an experiment.
And
he has no
asset.
rights.
Interesting thing about the Techno Union.
property.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the Techno Union, they were on their home planet.
Right.
And they were still wearing all this robotic stuff, which they didn't have to. If I remember correctly, Techno Union only needed to wear all that stuff because they couldn't breathe or live outside of their own planet.
Oh, is that right?
And they were so they wore all that stuff so they actually survive off their planet.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're on their own planet. They're still wearing it, which is kind of weird.
Is Gecko their own planet though?
I think so.
They were kind of like floating too, like hovering. That was kind of interesting.
They were hovering. They were on wheels.
I don't think Skekko's their planet. I think it's just where they had the base.
Well, I know they were straight up on wheels because they were like ghosts.
Yeah. We'll have to research that.
Kind of like shadows.
Obviously,
It was crazy.
obviously, I didn't do my homework on that one, but so they're taking the robots.
And they're all about like bottom line, like they were upset about their
Yeah,
investment.
I mean, the Techno Union Army is clearly meant to be an analog for the military-industrial nature of.
They were neutral, not really.
Yeah.
They were mercenaries.
Yeah, exactly so. You can make the same. They're kind of like an analog for basically defense companies like General Dynamics or McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, whoever makes military hardware. They sell, and like in the case of those companies, they're obviously American-based companies, and they're selling those weapons to the United States.
Right.
But over time, as the government allows them to, they're also allowed to, as they become more obsolete, they're able to sell those same fighter jets, for instance, to foreign.
Yep.
Yeah, to our allies or whatever, but basically anybody that they can come to a deal with.
Right.
I think Iran is even flying like F-14 Tomcats still. I think they're the only country in the world that still does. You see F-16s all over the place.
Yep,
So yeah,
sure do.
American fighter jets are all over the world. So are Russian fighter jets.
Right.
I think China's buying a lot of MiGs and I can't remember what they all are. I'm no fighter expert.
Who's selling TIE fighters?
On this planet?
Because
on Earth?
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
I could be made to invest in a TIE fighter.
Legends was kind of funny about that because in Legends it was actually like a company and stuff that produced them. It wasn't necessarily the
Sinar.
Empire. Yeah.
Sinar Fleet Systems, right? Yeah.
So the Techno Unit's they're creating tools, and then whoever uses the tools, they don't really care.
Yes.
Whoever writes them a check.
Their
claiming
their
neutrality.
interest.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're claiming neutrality so that they can sell to both the Republic and the
Right.
I mean, now in this case they've taken sides with the independent systems, but their neutrality.
But their worry was that they took this piece of equipment, this tool, Echo. That's what we're talking about. They were
Did you
worried
just
about.
call Echo a tool?
Yeah. I mean, he used his hand to get out of the. I mean,
It's very much an astromech thing to do.
just saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, they certainly didn't view him as a human or a clone, or they viewed him as an investment.
Yes.
Right? He was a piece of equipment. He was a piece of technology or whatever, and they were not very happy about that.
Yeah, that's definitely a spin sort of a take on things. You're spinning it to benefit your own needs in that case. If they have to pitch him as property, as an experiment. Basically, when they found him, he was left for dead. At that point, he's no longer. Whether he was dead at the time that they found
we don't
him
know
or
what
not, we don't know. Was he dead? Was he freshly dead to the point that they were able to keep his brain alive?
They put him on life
Obviously
support.
so, because he's still got all of his faculties. He still has his memory from everything before the Citadel.
He's RoboCop.
And he's got a headache.
And I would imagine his legs hurt.
And he's got a best friend, Rex.
Yeah, exactly so. Okay, let's talk about these Octuptara Magna Tri-Droids.
That's a big word.
It is a big word. Aren't they awesome?
I would just call them walkers if I was fighting them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what Anakin called them.
Yeah.
Did he call them walkers?
Said we need to take down these walkers.
Yeah, they started chopping off the guns off the turrets off them and whatnot. I think he said walkers. I think
they're droids though. They're not.
walkers.
They're not manned. They're legitimately unmanned. They're drones. Yeah, tank drones.
They were pretty formidable for a while.
That's the first real walker that we saw in the Clone Wars not the animated series when it debuted in cinemas, the movie version. That's the first thing that we saw Anakin fight, and I loved actually seeing and recognizing the difference in the animation, in the choreography, the fighting style, everything that we got to see. The evolution, like epitomized right there. Just so gorgeous, so cool, and just so much fun. They're way more threatening in this episode than they were in that first episode. Just really, really, really cool.
Yeah. Still didn't.
Octuptara Magna Tridroid. Imagine Tony Stark making that pitch.
Now, was it too overpowered when Anakin launched himself up there and just went from gun to gun?
No.
That seemed like a thing he would do.
That's something I could see, because Anakin Skywalker being arguably the most powerful of all the Jedi, his acrobatic abilities, Jedi. It's not the first time we've seen Jedi exhibit acrobatic abilities.
Not at all, especially him.
Yeah, maybe never before at that level. But yeah, he was totally on point.
He got up there.
He did get up there,
and the clones weren't too happy.
Yeah, he was flipping all over like Yoda in Episode 2, and
right.
He was good.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see some more of that.
Yeah. Little competition between the Jedi and the clones, who takes it down, who takes down the walkers.
Right.
That's an interesting exchange between Echo and Skywalker 2, and Echo is just like, still showing off, General? And you know me, Rex.
He knows what's up.
Actually, that's what the animators were doing this whole episode.
Yep.
That's essentially what this whole episode did. It was the most action-packed filler episode, if you will, that I think I've seen in Clone Wars. Yeah. Period. Yeah. Very short. You brought it up to me first.
It was like 4.5 minutes.
Short.
No, just total. The timer said 18 minutes, but you got an intro, you got credits, so you probably got a 15-minute episode.
That was really short.
We had to have an escape. Had to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had to wrap up the story. They couldn't just move on like they've done other times and just move on to another totally different story.
Is the story wrapped up?
That's the question.
I mean, they've got to get off the planet.
We haven't seen the title for the new episode yet. I haven't. Have you?
I think it's a mystery. I think they're keeping it.
Okay, they got it under wraps?
We don't want to spoilers.
I think it's question marks.
Uh-oh, dudes. Yep, something's coming. I think there's one more episode in the story arc. I know that somebody commented on last week's episode and said that this season is going to be made up of 3 4-episode story arcs. So if that's accurate, and I'm saying if, because I don't know for sure that it is, then yeah, we've got one more Bad Batch episode to go.
I'm ready to move on to the next story.
I kind of am too. I'm ready for battle.
I know it's interesting because they end it with just like old times, and you get a interesting little look on Echo's face.
I'm glad you brought that up because that saddened him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, now I've got to go from this back to old times. Yeah. That's interesting that for Rex, the whole concept of saying this it's going to be like old times was meant to be uplifting.
Right.
But from Echo's perspective, it was the exact opposite.
And what's Cody going to think when they bring Echo back?
Right.
I can't imagine anything but good thoughts.
I think he's going to be happy.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what happens in him and then the other. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because Cody was the one that left the handprint, right? Or was that Rex?
No, that was Rex.
Yeah, on Echo's armor? Okay.
Yeah, that was Rex.
-5 points.
Fairly sure that was Rex.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm curious to see what Cody's, because Cody didn't want Rex to get his hopes up.
Right.
And so now this whole, this can be interesting.
That's going to be one of those scenarios where you're bound to be glad to be proven wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so,
that's pretty much all I've got.
That's all you've got?
That's pretty much all I've got.
15-minute episode? That's pretty good. It was short, so we're looking forward to the next one.
It was kind of interesting. One of the things I just wanted to bring up was when they pointed out to the leader of the Techno Union Army, whose name escapes me, but Wat Tambor. When they pointed out to Wat Tambor that the Jedi had escaped, and they asked, should we inform the Confederacy that the program's gone, that we no longer have this asset, and he just says, all in good time. That's a very big business sort of thing to do.
Yeah.
Basically cover your ass.
Yeah, you don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Let's
keep that under wraps for as long as we can.
At that point, they've sent the D-Wings off, and he might be thinking they're going to recover it. So,
or foreshadowing, they've made it that close to Coruscant. Don't they really need the asset to push forward?
Yeah, that brings back the other interesting point. At this point in the war, really the lines are very close to Coruscant, which kind of foreshadows the combat that took place there in Episode 3. And by that I mean Revenge of the Sith, not Episode 3 of Clone Wars Season 7.
So if you're losing a great strategic piece, maybe that's what's leading to the downfall of the Separatists.
Maybe so.
Could happen. Stay tuned. We don't know. We'll find out.
Well, that's about all that we've got for this episode of JavaJawaJaw, and definitely all that they've got for season 7, episode 3. So let us know what you think about it in the comments below. If you have any theories that you'd like to express, we'd love to hear them. We'd love to talk to you about them. Just keep us posted and tune in next time. And until then, we have spoken.
Bye, guys.